Today's lesson, pinning tools. So I have a variety here. I've got silk pins, two types, a quilting pin, a T-pin, and a safety pin. What I don't have pictured are ballpoint pins. You use them on knits and they are kind of what they sound like. The point of them is shaped a little rounder, like a ball. Now, what you want to think about with pins when you're trying to decide which one to use is what kind of fabric are you working with? Are you working with a woven cotton that doesn't stretch? Are you working with something delicate? Are you working with something with an open weave or an open knit? Does your fabric stretch? So, based on those, that's how you're going to decide. You can also take a look at the point of the needle and how thin or how thick the pin is. Excuse me, I meant to say the point of the pin. All right, the more delicate the fabric, the less obtrusive you want the pin to be. So you're going to choose something like a silk pin, which is a little bit more slender and got a very sharp point. Less likely to leave a hole behind. So let's start out with this fabric. It's a little bit more delicate. You can see how it's raveling and it's shiny on one side, matte on the back. So let's pretend we're going to fold this raw edge up, pin it, and sew it. So I'm going to show you how pins go. Pins go down and then they come back up. All right. And I think I want to grab a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. All right. And yes, I do have that in the right way. Pins go in perpendicular to the direction that you're going to sew. So that first one was a silk pin, and so is the second one. The first one's just a little bit easier to hold. This third one is the quilting pin. Usually use it on quilting cottons, so not this fabric. But they are very easy to hold because they're longer, and that yellow ball is a little bit easier to hold. And last we have the T-pin. So that's how you would put the pins in no matter what. I'm not going to bother with that safety pin. Now let's take those pins out and see what we're left with, because at some point you're going to take the pins out and you'll be left with whatever they left behind. Alright, now let's take a peek. Ooh, do you see on the last two right there? That was the T-pin, and the one just inside it was from the quilting pin. Now notice you don't see anything left behind from the silk pins. They're very stealthy in their job. And you can definitely see where the T-pin left marks on the right side of the fabric. It's hard to see what the quilting pin left behind, and I know that that's a wrinkle, but there are little holes. You just can't see them very well. So for that particular fabric, your best choice would be using a silk pin. And I don't like those little guys. They're very obnoxious and easy to lose. Now this right here is your basic quilting cotton, calico cotton. Right side and a wrong side. It's very resilient. It does not stretch. So I'm going to use a quilting pin and a silk pin and a T-pin. Now all of which will do the job. However, when you take them out, again, the silk pin isn't going to leave any marks. The quilting pin may, but what you'll notice with this fabric is it's very resilient. You know, you kind of just sort of smooth it out a little bit, bing, bang, boom, no more holes. So if it's easy to use the quilting pin, use the quilting pin. Now here we've got burlap. Okay, it's got a very open weave and it's heavier. All right. So we're going to grab the T-pin first, the quilting pin, and the silk pin. All right. It's kind of what I like to do. I like to sort of shake around the fabric with the pins in it to make sure that the pins aren't going to come out. Now we pull them all out. It's not going to leave a hole behind because the fabric's already filled with holes, but the best job was done by the T-pin. Now, as with any pin, make sure when you're not using it, it is put away safely, either in a pin cushion or on a magnetic pin cushion, like this guy. Always make sure to keep your pins in the pin cushions when you're not using them, otherwise you may prove a danger to yourself and to others or your animals.